ekam aksharam hruvi Hridaya Kubara Madhye Kevalam Brahmatram Yaham Itisa Atmarupe Bhati Hrivi Vishamanasa Chinvata Majjata Chayana Atmanishto Deham Rangaya Jadamakam Aham Buddhirnakasya Aham Tattatbhava Samaye Siddharma Saddha Bhavaita Kuto Varadhiya Drishta Manishta Mana Soham Spurtaya Arunachala Shiva Guru Vibhava Soham Spurtaya Arunachala Shiva Guru Vibhava Namo Ramana. In this, the Thursday Satsang from Ramanacentre Center for Learning, it has been our practice to select two verses from the work Guruvachaka Kovai. The two verses are selected at random by Revatima. Each verse is read out and a short meditation on its meaning is taken up, and that is followed by the practice of self-enquiry for about 15 minutes. After these two segments of verse reading, meditation on meaning, and practice of Atma Vicharam are completed, there will be summing up remarks by Sri Venkatesh Deshpande ji. That will be followed by the offering of Sri Ramana Stotram. The chanting will be by Vaibhavji and Pratnama online. The floral offerings shall be by Manjunath ji from right here. We begin the satsang by taking up the first verse selected for us, verse number 4. Verse number 4 we obviously find in the prefatory remark. There are about 13 verses in the prefatory remarks of the introduction. Verse number 4 is the name of the work and its origin. The name of this work and its origin. This bright, clear lamp of supreme truth, Paramartha Deepam, the name given by Muruganar Swamigal, is Paramartha Deepam, the lamp of supreme truth. It has come about that the name Guruvachaka Kovai has finally stuck, though he has started off by having Paramartha Deepam, the lamp of supreme truth, as the original title. The bright, clear lamp of supreme truth was not one that I myself lit with my infantile and immature knowledge. I, whose heart had not seen the truth shine. It was lit by my Lord with his right supreme jnana. The lamp of supreme truth is the original subtitle of Guruvachaka Kovai. This bright, clear lamp of supreme truth, Paramartha Deepam, Guruvachaka Kovai, was not one. This lamp is not one that I myself lit with my infantile and immature knowledge. I, whose heart has not seen the truth shine. It was lit by Lord Ramana with his right supreme jnana. So this set of verses which indicate the supreme truth of the self, which is itself the Paramartha Deepam. The self itself is the light by which all perception is received. There is an enquiry by Pandit Lakshman Sharma that we call this multiplicity in the world, and the act of perceiving the multiplicity by a seer, all put together, we call it as illusion of divided consciousness, where the consciousness is divided as the perceiver, perception, and the perceived. Now, he inquires, by what light do we see this illusion, this so-called illusion? And when you come to see the truth, both are seen by the supreme light. There are no two lights. The light of consciousness, which reveals the limited, the mortal, is the same light which reflects on itself as the timeless, immortal Paramartha Deep. It is the same light, he says. Here, Muruganar's emphasis is that it is not lit by the ego. It is not lit by the ego, which itself is part of the problem. The ego is one of the thoughts in consciousness. We have identified with that ego so strongly that we don't realize that Nandakumar is one of the thoughts now in consciousness. It is just like any other thought, but it feels it has some thoughts which belongs to it and some thoughts which do not belong to it, and it takes great pride in this separate existence from the rest. But then when the truth of the mind is inquired into, we find that all these thoughts, including the thought Nandakumar, they all originate after the I thought arises. The I thought. In that the I thought, there is no Nandakumar's I thought or somebody else's I thought. That's why Bhagavan says, whenever a thought arises, including whatever is related to Nandakumar or thoughts in general, without differentiating, one should let go of that thought and hold to the Paramartha Deepam with effort by asking, for whom is this thought? Only after the I thought arises, the other thoughts arise. What happens is that the falsity of separateness of thoughts all drops away. Nandakumar falls away in the very act of enquiry. In the very process of enquiry, that person who had accumulated certain body parts and accumulated certain thoughts said, "This is me." That entity gets dismantled. And what is it that reveals or which allows that dismantling process? It is the Paramartha Dipam. That's why Muruganar says it is not the ego that has written these verses, it is Bhagavan himself. It is I whose heart has not seen the truth, the ego's heart. He's not talking of Muruganar here. Bhagavan has said clearly that Muruganar ranks among the best of his devotees. That means when somebody makes a wrong remark about Muruganar in the hall, Bhagavan says Muruganar's state of realization or truth is beyond question. So the remarks of these people do not add to much, he says. So here, Muruganar is saying the ego could never have written this work. It is only the Bhagavan within the ego. The Paramartha Deepam, because of Muruganar's humility, the lack of individuality, that this whole work of Guruvachaka has been written by that supreme light itself. So as Lakshman Sharma ji says, even these relative things are seen by this same light. The truth about the relative things which is written, that is also with the same Paramartha Deepam, says Muruganar. The idea being that the real doer, the real actor, the real finisher of things cannot be the ego. Every night in sleep, the ego gets laya. It cannot do anything there. How can such a thing which vanishes into apparent non-existent there, how can that be the composer of this work? How can that be the real doer of anything? The real doer is the light of consciousness, which is self-luminous, which is lit by itself, which is not dependent on another, which is not merely a thought or a fragment of consciousness. It is that which arises when the whole mind is dismantled. When the mind itself is inquired into and dismantled, Bhagavan is there. The Paramartha Deepam is there without any limits. That alone is the real doer. That alone is the real listener. That's why we say, even when the Ashtotram is going on, pay attention to who is listening. Is there any change in the listener? The listener is one and the same, but the attention going away from the listener to the objects listened feels there are many things. That's why we say, even when listening to Ashtotram, do the self-enquiry. Have you gone anywhere? No. So let the light of attention be with its source. Then what happens? The Ashtotram goes on automatically. Who is the real doer of the Ashtotram? The real doer of the Ashtotram is the self-luminous one. That self-luminous one is the real doer of Ashtotram, real listener, real chanter. That is why self-attention should be natural when one is able to write such a verse, that who is writing, who is speaking, it is not the ego, but it is Bhagavan himself, the supreme lamp, which is revealing the truth about itself in all these verses. So instead of getting lost in the actions and even in the seeing of actions. Let us see who is the real doer, who is ever present in all actions, by going to the root of thoughts. Thought being the action which must always be there in sensory, emotional, and mental acts. Thought must always be there. But who is at the root of thought? When we go, we are able to identify or be one with the real doer. So let's, for the next 15 minutes or so, sit in Atma Ucharam. Julji, you can set the time for us. Ramana. We continue by taking up the second verse selected for us, 1250. 1250 in statistics, there used to be various random tables. So we used to generate data. So there will be various methods by which we will get random numbers. There will be a random sequence of numbers. If a 4-digit number selection 2, 3 we had to do, we'll take 2 from here, 2 from somewhere else, put it together and have that as one of the samples, one of the random numbers. We can see how Revati has done it today. She has picked the 4th verse from the beginning, then knocked off 4 from the total 1254 verses. So 1254 minus 4, 1250th verse she has selected for us. But we can't complain, it is random. And it is under the subsegment, the state of equipoise. It is of course in the last chapter, experience. Other than the prefatory verses, there are 3 chapters. One is the investigation into truth, meditation on the truth, and experience of the truth. 1250 is equipoise, the state of equipoise. The side which sees the self as the sole reality present, equally and identically in all that is perceived, is the equal vision extolled by those perfected in true jnana, that which overflows with the savor of oneness. What is the samadrishti? The samadrishti, equanimity, samadrishti, that is referred to in the scriptures. What is that samadrishti? Obviously, you can't see it with the mortal eyes. What is that samadrishti? Obviously, we cannot think about it, because both thinking and seeing through the eyes, by their very nature, are not sama. Because, see, Venkatesh used to say, and I have also read about it, that more than 70% of the data we take into our brain is from the eyes, and about 20% from the ears, and the rest of the 10% covers the other 3 jnanendriyas of tongue, smell and touch. That means there is lopsidedness in the very nature in which we receive data. We are limited entities, more oriented towards sight, and little less and less. And the combination we make of the world, 70% light, 70% scene forms, 20% sound forms, then the rest of the 10% through smell, taste and touch. So lopsidedness is there, samadrishti is not there. So we can put aside sensory experience as samadrishti. Can we have samadrishti through thought? Obviously, the outgoing thought forgets what it is, forgets its own nature, and is totally trying to go after the seen thought. It feels its entire life is dependent on the thought it is pursuing. So there is lopsidedness there between inward turned and outward turned nature. So having rejected these two as possibility of samadrishti, what is samadrishti? The side which sees the self as the sole entity present, equally and identically in all. How to see that somebody, my friend, is equally and identically filled with the self? only by seeing the self within me. We have seen that story, that exchange between Maharani and Bhagwan about how to see God in all. To see God in all seems to be a samadrishti. But Bhagwan says, to see another is already lopsidedness. He is already using the mental faculty, which is lopsided, which is absent during deep sleep. So to see God in all is to only go inward and completely remove all thoughts from the consciousness. The consciousness within, purged of all thoughts, is samadrishti. Samadrishti is another name for God, is another name for self. It is samadrishti only when we see that self within and see that that very seeing is seeing the self in all. In Dakshinamurti Stotram, the last Stotram Falastuti, it is that Sarvamum Tanai Nandrai. Sarvamum Tanai Nandrai means that everything is the self. Only when one sees that the self-attention, which is natural, is Sarvam, is everything. That is Samadrishti. Equally and identically in all that is perceived, all that is perceived, Sarvam. In all that perceived, all that is perceived, what is equally and identically present? Only the self-attentive self. This is the equal vision extolled by those perfected in true jnana that overflows with the savor of oneness. In this, the multiplicity is gone. How is the multiplicity? How is the multiplicity synthesized? The multiplicity is not synthesized by merely bringing them together. The multiplicity is synthesized by seeing the self within as permeating and transcending everything without the division as inside and outside. So let us sit in practice of that samadrishti, to see God in all, to see that this self-attention is itself sarvam. Attending to the self is attending to everything. In one of the questions, a teacher would have asked Bhagwan, how is I seem to be derelict in some of the works when I am attending to self? Bhagavan will say, attending to the self is attending to everything. So in that sense, what is samadrishti? To see that sarvam is only the self. Whenever another comes, the sarvam is broken up. So let go of the other and hold for whom is this. Let us sit in Atma Ucharam for 15 minutes or so. Julji, you can set the time for us. Thank you.
नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. May I request Venkatesh ji to give us the summing of remarks. Namo Ramana sir.
Namo Ramana. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Jnanamulam Gurur Murti, Pujamulam गुरोर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोर्कृपा मोक्षमूलं गुरोर्कृपा. Namo Ramana. No, in the summertime, it's always times to eat ice cream. Many of us love to eat ice cream in summer. So actually, we go to Corner House, Richie Rich. We go to all these ice cream parlors, and what do? We pick up the menu card. Menu card will say, triple sundae. Will say banana split, and or say death by chocolate. We'll give you different items in the menu, and there will also be vanilla ice cream there. So if you ask your child, okay, you will have vanilla ice cream. No, 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 Daddy, I don't like a vanilla ice cream. So I want strawberry, or I want chocolate, or I want chocolate with hot chocolate nuts, and all sorts of things they will say. So but if you really go at the back end, if you ask the person who makes the ice cream, the actual ice cream maker, he knows for sure that vanilla ice cream is the basic ice cream around which all other ice creams are made. So you have the vanilla ice cream, then it becomes strawberry, then it becomes chocolate, it becomes this, that, other things. So the fundamental ingredient of of all ice creams is vanilla ice cream. But you ask somebody, do you like vanilla ice cream? No, I don't like. But if somebody is told, hey, the chocolate ice cream that you're eating is basically vanilla ice cream, all your sales will go off. Nobody will come and eat ice cream in your place because they think chocolate ice cream is separate from vanilla ice cream. They're different, but actually they're the same. So similarly, what happens, like the creator of the ice cream, there's a creator of this whole universe. This basic ingredient that he has, like vanilla ice cream, is consciousness. So consciousness has manifested in so many beings, manifested as the ants, manifested as these human beings, manifested as the elephants, the trees, all these things is manifested as the with a basic ingredient of consciousness. And what happens? But when you're at the ground level, it all feels that oh, there's an elephant there, there's a huge elephant there, there's a small ant here, oh, and there's a human being out here. Human beings are more intelligent. But you go into a higher level of consciousness. Just go up Arunachala and look at the world down. Just look at it. Just go into a higher level of consciousness. What happens? The same elephant looks small. The human being looks smaller. The ant is probably not visible. But everything seems all look similar. They don't look different. They all are moving around. If you look from the top of the jungle in summer when all the leaves are fallen off and you look down, what will happen? All the animals seem to be moving around. But what is the basic ingredient? The basic ingredient from the creator's perspective, the creator who's actually seeing this whole his or her creation looks at each of this as what? And looks at each of this as the same. It's like the ice cream maker who knows for certain that The basic thing is vanilla ice cream. So the creator knows for certain that everything is only consciousness. But what happens when you get in all this ego and get a sense of I-ness, which happens at the ground level? But as you go higher and higher, higher level of consciousness, what happens? These differences start vanishing, vanishing, vanishing. So that's the trick. So important thing is Bhagavan says, go within, go within. More you go within and try and understand your own truth, then you realize actually it's like going higher up in consciousness, and you realize that the reality of you and reality of everything is only the consciousness. Then what happens? Then you and the creator merge. There's no difference between you and the creator. A jnani or a jivan mukta, the difference is the similarity between God, jivan mukta, and a guru is the same. They're all the same because they have samadrishti. They're able to see that oneness. They're able to see that basic ingredient of consciousness in everything and do not see the difference. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana, sir. Thank you very much. May I request Vaibhavji and Pratnama to chant the Ramana Stotram. Namo Ramana Vaibhavji. Namo Ramana Pratnama.
नमो रमण भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः ॐ गुरवे नमः ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः ॐ महौजसे नमः ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः ॐ श्रीमद्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः ॐ तीव्राय नमः ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः ॐ तपोमयाय नमः ॐ उदासीनाय नमः ॐ महायोगिने नमः ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः ॐ कुशाग्रधिये नमः ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ स्थिराय नमः ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः ॐ दूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः ॐ विराजतचलाकृतये नमः ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः ॐ पूर्णाय नमः ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः ॐ गम्भीराय नमः ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः ॐ धीराय नमः ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः ॐ स्वराजे नमः ॐ महर्षये नमः ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलहृद्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्न संशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋचान्तिगरसान् ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ध्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः बिम्बिष्टस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकरात् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नमः इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
नमो 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 रमण सदाशिवप्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शनसुखमङ्गलमुखसकलजीवहितसम्मुख ब्रह्मसङ्गिये नमो 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 रमण सदाशिवप्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानन्दपुष्ट सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानन्दपुष्ट परममहर्षि परममहर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शि नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಹ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡು ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಸಂಗಿಯೇ नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि। बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की जय।
ನಮೋ ರಮಣ ಅಕ್ಕ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.
Namo Ramana, everyone.
नमो रमण वेंकटेश जी, नमो रमण उज्जवल जी, नमो रमण वैभव जी and प्रार्थना में